Alright lads, so in less than 12 hours time we are going to be getting the release of the brand new Spirit Society Aizen and also Orient Society Bambietta. In a way, again, this is a special banner, a big deal because these are characters that we voted for. So in that regard, if you voted for these specific characters and these specific designs, I'm sure you're probably already summoning. And truth be told, jumping right into the video, before we even talk about the units, I think this is a banner you should only summon on. One, if you have plenty of orbs to spare, but also if you're only big fans of Bambietta and also Aizen. So with that in mind, I do think majority of us watching this video or playing the game right now should be skipping this banner because it doesn't really offer much of value, despite both Aizen and Bambietta being good. But ultimately, the thing that is holding this banner back heavy is the filler pool. It does only feature premium and seasonal characters that are not terrible per se, but not the best in any regards. But they're also those characters you're going to see quite a lot unfeatured in other banners, and all characters here are featured in the free summons that we pretty much get 20 a month at this point. Even Gin and Toshiro are characters that released earlier this year. They are also now in free summon selections faster than ever before. Chances are you already most likely have a lot of the characters here, but even if you are missing them, there's definitely going to be plenty of opportunities to summon for them in the future. So due to the fact that there is a lacking of Blood War characters here, seasonal Blood War characters, I don't think this is going to be a must summon. And again, the only reason you should be summoning is because you are big fans of Aizen and also Bambietta. Of course, both characters are great, but in a way, you can go without them. But why exactly is that? Well, let's talk about the first character, Aizen. Aizen is actually going to be a very strong character and looks to be a really fun character too from a visual standpoint. His sword is one of my favorites this year. But Aizen himself is a power sniper with the Espada Killer Plus ability. This character wants to be used in the melee Espada guild quests, and he's going to have a very easy time in that guild quest phase, especially due to the fact that he is immune to weakening with a 200% resistance. Also right now, and likely the next time melee Espada guild quest phase does return, all the final enemies, the final boss and the extra waves are technique enemies, giving Aizen a good advantage as he will have attribute advantage. That alongside the fact that Aizen does have a pretty good damage output with Frenzy plus 3, a 60% Berserker, 100% more damage to dominated enemies, and an 80% spiritual pressure boost makes him quite the strong unit. In a way, this character is very similar to Renewed Aizen that came out early this year. The difference here, though, is that this Aizen has Frenzy plus 3. So if you like 6th Anniversary Aizen Renewed's version gameplay, especially with how his damage does work, this character is basically going to be better, albeit with a different gameplay, because the strong attacks are different. Like mentioned though, Aizen does actually inflict dominate. That's really good, especially for limit breaker content. Whenever there are Aranka enemies, regardless of the attribute or range type bonus that particular slot is giving to you, you are potentially going to be able to use Aizen and cheese through the very hard stages that are featuring poise enemies, as the dominate plus status allows the enemies to do millions of damage to themselves. I've used Aizen a lot, the renewed version, in guild quests, in Limit Breaker, multiple times since his release, and he's always been a solid character. So likely we are going to see the very same thing for this character, this time at least when you are up against Arankas. So even though this character might have an unconventional killer, being a Espada killer, it's not going to hold him back in pretty much any content. In Limit Breaker, he should definitely still be useful. Of course, he's going to be useful everywhere else. And in the immediate Espada guild quest, he is going to be a very safe and consistent lead. The thing is though, right now we do have access to the Melee Espada Guild Quest phase. And if you haven't already saw the video that we posted earlier today, I personally don't need Aizen. And if you are someone that does have access to one of the best characters in the game, 9th Anniversary Kenpachi, you should know already before going into this banner whether you need Aizen or not, because Kenpachi can clear this with ease. And he's also still capable of getting pretty good scores, especially if you do have the character maybe well invested in terms of Transcendence level, maybe max Transcended. If you do, the question right now is going to be, is Aizen even going to be better? He definitely will be a safer character because he has that 200% resistance, but is he going to have enough brute force damage to carry him through all 5 waves to get a higher score than a maybe well invested Kenpachi? So I think for newer players, Aizen's going to have more usage. Maybe if you haven't worked on Kenpachi all that much, but once you do, he should be a safe character to use until you can maybe get Aizen in a later banner when he eventually becomes a filler. Because that right now is my plan. I'm perfectly fine using 9th Anniversary Kenpachi, but in the future, if this character becomes more common, let's say 8 months from now, and I eventually get more duplicates into this character, then eventually I will slowly phase out Kenpachi for a character like Aizen. but I feel like it's going to be quite a while away. So an overall really good character. If you're an Aizen fan, there's definitely a lot you can do with this unit. For his guild quest phase, he's going to be a good lead there, but maybe not a needed one. And then as for the second character, we have Bambietta, a melee normal attack damage character for the melee Squad 0 guild quest. Just like Aizen though, she isn't restricted to that game mode. None of her damage here is based in a certain game modes. So for example, she has a really high damage output, Flurry +3, a 95% normal attack damage increase, which gets further increased through her EX skill. Bambietta also does have a team boost strong attack 3, providing her whole team with a 53% attack and focus increase. That paired with the fact that she can apply weakening with an increased status ailment chance to do so against any story burn. And keep in mind, weakening does let you do 50% more damage, but she also does an extra 40% damage. So once you do apply weakening, you're technically doing 90% more damage, but also you have an additional team support where you give everyone in your team, regardless of their affiliation or attribute, 20% more damage to any enemy that is inflicted by a status ailment. So not only does she have Flurry +3, a super high bruiser, once you do apply weakening, you're pretty much doing 110% more damage. That is absolutely crazy. And Bambietta is going to be really good in the melee Squad 0 guild quest. Again, right now, I question if I even need her for that phase. I have quite a good team with Rukia and Shunsui, that being the Blood War Rukia and the seasonal Parasol Shunsui. And given that both of them are mind characters, there's never going to be a situation like we are seeing now with 9th anniversary Kenpachi where they're going to have attribute disadvantage. So they're never not going to be bad, they're always going to be good, but better whenever there are hard enemies. Obviously though, Bambietta on that team would be a great addition because she does offer really good damage for your entire team. Again, you have that 20% team damage effect, you have the SA3 team boost, but then you also have the weakening, letting everyone do 50% more damage. And what this actually means for Bambietta is that she might actually be better outside of her Squad 0 guild quest phase and can be used in every guild quest phase because in a way she's very similar to Swimsuit Misaki. Right now, one of the go-to supports in almost every guild quest phase because she simply has an SA2 team boost and a 20% damage boost to any character. Bambietta has that, but instead of having a team boost strong attack 2, she has it on the strong attack 3, so she's providing more stats. So Bambietta is pretty much as an upgraded version of Swimsuit Misaki, with the potential to be even better, at least when up against Soripas. Because when you are up against Soripas, which does account for 4 different guild quest phases, technically 5, you are going to have that increased chance to inflict weakening, and assuming the lead that you are using as your main damage dealer can't inflict weakening, well now they're potentially, occasionally, once Bambietta does inflict the status ailment, dealing 50% more damage. Outside of Soripa enemy phases, let's say Aranka's Quincy's example, there will still be the opportunity for her to inflict weakening, which will increase your damage output again by 50%. But it won't be as reliable because she won't have that increased status ailment chance. But every now and then it will happen. And I think Bambietta is going to be a really good support for every guild quest phase, while also doubling down as a really good normal attack damage character outside of guild quests. So I do think both new characters are actually going to be very strong. Bambietta right now might be one of the best guild quest supports in the entire game. Aizen is going to be a good character in Limit Breaker, a good character everywhere, while also being a pretty safe lead in the melee Espada guild quests. But as we are so close to the end of year, now you should be questioning, do you need them? If you want them, summon. If you're an Aizen fan, if you're a Bambietta fan, if you voted for these characters, do what you have to do. But if you are right now thinking of saving for end of year because that is going to be our next big banner, I think these are characters you can go without. Because again, Kenpachi exists, you don't technically need Aizen, and while Bambietta is going to be a really good support, at least where I'm at in the game right now, she'll be a great addition to have. She'll allow me to get higher scores, but if your main goal is just to clear the first 2 extra waves in any guild quest phase and get all the orb rewards, you don't need a character like Bambietta. She'll be great to have, but not needed. So that, compared with the fact that, again, we have this Philippon, it's not really an amazing must-summon banner. One thing to keep in mind, though, that no one's really talking about, despite, as already stated, the Philippon not really being the best, they actually don't have an unfeatured pull rate. It's straight 6% for every 5-star. And this is super noteworthy because what we do see whenever there is a 6% draw rate for no unfeatured character, if you get a 5-star, it's going to be these 9 characters here. Usually it is filled up with 3 additional characters. So pretty much for the last 6 years in Brave Souls, every end of month, every mid-month banner always has a 0.5% chance to get a individual character. That has been the norm for years. This ban, however, has a 6% draw rate, no unfeatured draw rate, but there are only 9 characters in the selection, so the individual draw rate for Aizen and also Bambietta is 0.66% chance, which is higher compared to normal banners. So technically, if you are summoning on this banner, despite it being a 2-character banner, your chance of getting the character is a little bit higher compared to a normal banner that you might have summoned on over the last 6 years. So that, in a way, is one good thing about the banner. And that's also, I guess, noteworthy too, because when you do go to the guaranteed steps, it's 1 in 9 instead of 1 in 12 for it to potentially be the character you want. Keep in mind though, despite the rates technically being higher this time around, you are only guaranteed a character of your choice on step 20. So it's a bit better than a Zenith summon at the end of the month, which requires going to 25 steps. But compared to the crown step of summon that we used to get, is definitely still a downgrade step back, because normally you would be guaranteed on step 10. At least you would be guaranteed one of the two. So at most, if you are summoning all the way for your desired character, let's say you're a massive Bambietta fan, massive Aizen fan, you are going to have to spend around 4,000 orbs. And there are options to go all the way to step 40, but I doubt anyone should be doing that. If you are summoning on this banner, most you should be doing is 20 steps. But I would just more so recommend, mostly because Aizen and Bambietta are really good characters, to do the discounts. Shouldn't hurt you doing the discounts depending on your orb count. Right now, I'm sitting at 4,000. So personally, I will be doing the 2 discounted steps, but other than that, I will be saving for end of month and also, most importantly, end of year. So in the comments below, let me know your summon plan if you plan to summon. Again, for me, I think most of us should be skipping, but since these are characters that we voted for, I'm sure a lot of people are going to go all the way to step 20 in the hopes to get their favorite character, Aizen or Bambietta. And if you are part of that group, let me know in the comments below, and hopefully you have some good luck. Maybe you don't need to go to step 20. But I do encourage most people at least to do the discounts, assuming you have a decent orb count. I personally will be doing that. Either way though, hope you liked and enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Take care and peace.